A second round of layoffs in Barbados' public sector is coming. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Tuesday, October 16th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. Just 2 days after Prime Minister Mia Mottley announced that up to 1,500 workers in the public service will be sent home in coming weeks, a senior economic advisor to government has confirmed there will be more job cuts next year. Providing an update to the media on the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation BERT plan on Monday, Dr. Kevin Greenidge said while the initial layoffs will come from government departments and state-owned enterprises which are easier to restructure, there will be additional retrenchments, not exceeding 1,000, at larger and more complex entities such as the Transport Board, the Barbados Water Authority, and the Barbados Agricultural Development and Marketing Corporation. But Dr. Greenidge reminded that with the full digitization of central government starting early next year, most of the 800 people being retrenched from central government would be re-employed. Meantime, the government is being accused of targeting women in its retrenchment program. The charge is being leveled by the National Union of Public Workers, the NUPW, whose General Secretary Rosalind Smith has described government's decision to send home clerks, typists and stenographers, posts held primarily by females, as an attack on women. She told reporters on Monday night after meeting with the union's membership that as far as the union is concerned, this is a gender issue.
There are women in the public service. It's a gender issue. Women are the breadwinners, homemakers, and everything like that. When you put all those women on the bread, like, tell me what you're doing. All for the public service, you're abolishing stereotypists and clerk typists. And 100% of those persons are women. You're attacking the women in Barbados. They are the breadwinners.
Smith, who took part in a recent social partnership meeting on the layoffs, said the posts were among those being abolished, but insisted that further discussion is needed. She called on Prime Minister Mia Mottley to give more details regarding the planned layoffs. The trade unionist urged the Mottley administration to weigh the pros and cons and not rush to any decisions. The NUPW reported to its members on Monday that 955 central government workers would be laid off. The union said that in addition to the stenographers and clerk typists, security guards, as well as employees from the Ministry of Transport Works and Maintenance, the Barbados Postal Service, and the School Meals Department will be sent home. The remaining layoffs will be at statutory corporations. But the economic advisor, Dr. Greenidge, is rejecting the claims of gender bias in the job cuts. He says government was eliminating posts that are outdated.
Stenotypists, clerk typists tend to be a post which you will not have in modern day. But by default, they tend to be a post most held by women. We look at posts, you don't look at people. So I don't know if you're looking at the Ministry of whatever, and we're looking and say, well, look, when a letter coming, instead of having 3, 4, 5 persons, one opening letter, one write the letter in the book, one carry the book down the corridor, another take it. Let's just have a document management system where it's input, they scan and send to a person. We don't know who those 3 or 4 people will be or are. It's just posts. If you look at the only category of stenographers, typists, it will happen to be females. But the answer you could clearly see will be that's the nature of the position. But there's no, obviously there's couldn't clearly be any specific policy to look for gender. I mean.
In Guyana, just hours after 3 prisoners escaped from the Lusignan prison on Monday morning, unrest erupted at the same penal facility. Authorities were forced to deploy additional police and prison guards to quell the disturbance. Local reports say 6 inmates were injured with pellets and were taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital for treatment. Sources say security personnel opened fire on a number of the inmates after they tied their faces with clothing to conceal their identities and attacked prison guards. It was not immediately clear what sparked the unrest, but it has since been brought under control. Meanwhile, a joint services operation is continuing to apprehend the prisoners who scaled the prison wall early on Monday morning.
It is clear that, especially taking into consideration the close proximity of the 2 towers and the number of ranks deployed in those 2 towers, that those ranks were not alert, and I'm forced to conclude that it is very likely that they were sleeping thus resulting to them not observing the prisoners first in the attempt to get the razor wire separated in order to pass, and then during the process of them escaping by scaling the fence. As a result of that, again in keeping with the standard operational procedure, together with the police, we would have deployed several search parties in various parts of the Region 4 and Region 3 areas in keeping with known areas that these persons are likely to be. Those searches have so far came up empty-handed. However, there are several members of the public who have been given information as it relates to sighting of strange people. And in keeping with the resources we have available, all efforts are being made to check all of those areas almost immediately upon receipt of those information.
The St. Kitts and Nevis government has called in the Regional Security Services, RSS, in a bid to enhance safety and security on the Twin Island Federation. But the decision is not sitting well with the opposition St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris announced in an address to the nation that after consultation with the High Command of the Police Force and other technocrats in the Ministry of National Security, the Cabinet approved their recommendation to invite the Barbados-based RSS to deploy forces in St. Kitts and Nevis. He disclosed that the RSS forces began arriving last Wednesday.
RSS members are already deployed throughout the communities with local national security personnel, and their presence will help local law enforcement to expand the extent of their coverage of the country. The RSS will remain in St. Kitts and Nevis for as long as necessary until the security forces advise that their presence is no longer required.
But opposition leader Dr. Denzel Douglas says his party is not in agreement with the move and has written to the chairman of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, expressing its position. Douglas accused Dr. Harris of trying to run a dictatorship and alleged that there are plans to imprison key opposition supporters in the coming weeks. The Police Welfare Association of St. Lucia is calling for a re-evaluation on the level of compensation being offered when law enforcement personnel are injured or killed in the line of duty. The association is also calling for greater compensation for hard-working members. We get more in this HTS News Force report.
The Police Welfare Association, PWA, has urged a reconsideration of the compensation offered to police officers who are killed or injured in the line of duty. The association's president, Travis Chico, told an online publication that ideally the PWA is looking to obtain up to $1 million for the family of each police officer killed while on the job. Current regulations stipulate that surviving family members get an amount equal to 3 years of gross salary at the date of death, and such entitlements as provided under the National Insurance Corporation Act, the Police Act, and the Fire Service Act. The president of the PWA disclosed that the association is currently in negotiations with a private insurance company to provide coverage for injured cops and the families of those killed on the job. The PWA president noted in part, quote, "We have actually secured a deal with an insurance company for $475,000. So at this time, we would call on the employer to meet us halfway."
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, a warning that Grenada's tourism product will suffer if the country does not amend its marijuana laws. Stay with us.
It's one of the most anticipated events of the year. November 4, get ready for Latin Festival at Free Baylon starting at 3 p.m. featuring out of Puerto Rico, Sun Divas. Out of Sweet Sugar Sully St. Kitts, DJ Elvis. From Jamaica, Romaine Virgo. And out of Dominican Republic, El Alfa El Jefe. Get your tickets now at Cajola Cristata Limited, online at latinfestival.net, Avalon Lab in the Sands Complex for only $35 EC until October 28 and $55 after. At Uncle Fats, you can get your VIP tickets for only $320 EC until October 15 and $350 after. Limited amount available. Save the date, November 4. Get ready for Latin Fiesta. Sponsored by Cajola Cristata, Hobson Enterprise, St. Kitts Marriott Resort, Caribbean Cinemas, Stag, and Mojitos La Casa de Albano.
Preview. Preview. Preview.
Imagine a tropical getaway where you can indulge in unsurpassed cuisine, culture, and adventure this side of the hemisphere at a special rate. Fall for Barbados this October and dive into the rich offerings of the Caribbean Sea, or hear the stirring melodies of jazz at the Elan Trotman Jazz Excursion. Explore fine dining with our world-renowned Barbados Food and Rum Festival. Journey to our many attractions. There is so much to see and do in Barbados this October. Book today with code #4BGI.
Welcome back. An advocate for marijuana legalization says if Grenada does not amend its laws, the tourism product can be affected. Attorney at law Anselm Clouden says circumstances will force the government into recognizing what is happening in the world around it, and if the country wants to benefit from the tourism market, it will have to move in line with acceptable international behavior. He says if the government is interested in developing its tourism industry, it cannot have laws that deter tourists from coming to the country.
I am recommending so as not to have Canadians incarcerated here, or for that matter, an advisory ultimately being given by the Canadian government warning the citizens where to travel and how to travel. First, declared at the port of entry, at the airport, you declare how much you are coming with, the extent of your prescriptive use, and if there is need to have, depending on the length of stay, if there's need for additional quantity, it comes through the regulated mechanisms established by law. We do not have any such legislation here. So although it's a drug as any other drug, aspirin, that you may take or you may come in your pouch from Canada or certain states of the United States, if you come with cannabis through Grenada as a Canadian who has been given permission by the government of his province and the federal government, and as such his doctor could prescribe for him, if he comes to Grenada with it as a tourist, he would be arrested, charged, and liably incarcerated.
In other news, the small island developing states are seeking to raise $100 billion by 2020 for the mitigation efforts which experts say are necessary to adapt to climate change. The announcement came at the region's first investment forum held in St. Lucia last week. We get the details in this GBN News report. To that later. Staying on the climate change front, the St. Lucia Development Bank has established a loan facility to help individuals and businesses better cope with the impact of climate change. About $4.5 million has been set aside for the facility. We get more in this HTS News Force report.
The St. Lucia Development Bank has officially launched its Climate Adaptation Finance Facility. The Business Development and Marketing Manager, Philbert Francis, says householders and businesses should seek to make use of this facility.
I think the power outage by Luslec last week is a wonderful coincidence for this event, because what it has demonstrated is the loss of business opportunity, the loss of business continuity because of the fact that people do not invest in systems that could provide power when there is no power from Newsline. And so at the session on Thursday, we're going to be encouraging the business sector to invest in renewable energy, invest in alternative energy. So we would have companies that specialize in providing services, for instance, the implementation or the installation of photovoltaic systems and other equipment that relates to building resilience and adapting to climate change.
The idea is to better prepare St. Lucia for the impact of climate change. Two important elements of this facility is enabling St. Lucians to tap into the green energy and conservation sectors.
And so even at the session, what we're going to do, our officers would be around, so if anybody who attends wants to engage us by way of taking a loan to install systems in the enterprises, we would be available to do that. So we're hoping to have a pretty good event on Thursday evening, and all the persons we have sent out invitations to, we hope that they would come. I know the OECS will be doing a small presentation too, because they have some interest in people building resilience and adapting to climate change.
The SLDB secured some $4.5 million for this facility. Qualified persons will be awarded loans on a first-come, first-served basis.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, the International Cricket Council hands West Indies head coach a 2-match suspension. We'll tell you why after the break.
This hurricane tip comes to you compliments the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Media Corporation.
Be prepared. Make an emergency communications plan for your family. What to do, where to go, how to reconnect.
Dominica's World Creole Music Festival in 2018, October 26, 27, 28 at the Windsor Park Stadium in the capital city, Roseau. 3 nights, over 8 genres, 40 years of independence, 1 location, Dominica, the 20th edition of Dominica's World Creole Music Festival. For more information, like our Facebook page, Dominica Festivals. Visit our website, www.dominicafestivals.com for all travel, accommodation, and ticketing details. My love, my home, my Dominica. Building a resilient nation. See you there! Proudly sponsored by the Government of Dominica and Discover Dominica Authority.
Been calling you, been calling you, Alila, calling you, Alila. Bacanala, been calling you, been calling you, Alila, calling you, Alila. I won't leave you alone. I won't leave you alone. I won't leave you alone. No, 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 no. Don't you reach me free complete? Can't have a lane, I'm toss and sleep. We couldn't wait to jump in the street. 365 every dog in the heat.
West Indies head coach Stuart Law has been slapped with a 2-match suspension by the International Cricket Council after being found guilty on a disciplinary charge of making inappropriate comments to officials. Law also received a fine in addition to 3 demerit points, and with an accumulated 4 demerit points in a 24-month period, he will now miss the first 2 one-day internationals of the 5-match series in India, which bowls off on Sunday. The incident occurred on the 3rd day of the final test on Sunday when Law entered the TV umpire's room following the dismissal of opener Kieran Powell in the 2nd innings and made inappropriate comments. Law also visited the 4th umpire's area where he also directed similar comments at the official within earshot of players. The Australian pleaded guilty to the charge and accepted the sanction set out by match referee Chris Broad. Law made headlines earlier last month when he announced his intention to quit the Windies side at year-end following 2 years in charge. Meanwhile, West Indies have lost 1 ratings point following their series defeat to India on Sunday, leaving them languishing in 9th spot in the ICC Test team rankings and even closer now to Bangladesh below them. The Caribbean side suffered a 10-wicket thrashing in the 2nd test in Hyderabad. to follow up their heavy innings and 272-run defeat in the Rajkot opener. Both matches finished inside 3 days. West Indies have 76 points, 9 points ahead of 10th placed Bangladesh, who they tour next month for a crucial 2-test series. More significantly, the Windies are now 12 points adrift of 8th placed Pakistan and drifting further away from the top half of the rankings. India, meanwhile, has gained 1 ratings point from the series win and remain number 1 on 116 points. They are 10 clear of second-placed South Africa, with Australia a fraction behind in third, also on 106 points. England is 4th on 105, New Zealand 5th on 102, while Sri Lanka, who drew 1-1 in the Caribbean earlier this year, lies 6th on 97 points. Evan Lewis's career took another twist on Monday when he pulled out of the West Indies one-day and T20 squads for the imminent series against India. In a statement, Cricket West Indies said the left-handed opener had withdrawn from the squad due to personal reasons, but it did not elaborate. Lewis has been replaced in the ODI squad by Test opener Kiran Powell, who is already in India, while left-hander Nicholas Pooran will fill the vacancy in the T20 squad. The 26-year-old Lewis also pulled out of the T20 series against New Zealand last December for what Cricket West Indies also described as personal reasons. And the speculation over the player's future intensified earlier this month when he also declined a white ball retainer contract from the board. Lewis, currently representing Trinidad and Tobago Red Force in the Super 50, has made 1,010 runs from 35 ODIs at an average of 32. He averages 33 from 17 T20 internationals with 200s already. West Indies all-rounder Raymond Reifer struck his second half-century in 3 days and third of the regional Super 50 as Guyana Jaguars produced a clinical run chase to beat Canada by 4 wickets in Trinidad on Monday night and go to the top of the standings. Opting to bat first, Canada got a top score of 51 from Nitish Kumar, while captain David Jacobs remained unbeaten on 34, and opener Ruvindu Gunasekera also got 34, in a total of 205 for 7 off their 50 allotted overs. In the reply, Jaguars recovered from a mid-innings stutter to reach their target in the 40th over, with the left-handed Reifer stroking an unbeaten 61. Captain Leon Johnson scored 37 and makeshift opener Sherfane Rutherford 27, but Jaguars lost quick wickets to find themselves stumbling on 96 for 4 in the 20th over. However, wicketkeeper Anthony Bramble slammed their enterprising 44 off 40 balls to help Jaguars back on track in tandem with Reifer and kill any hopes Canada harbored of a surprise victory. Dean Smith unleashed a stunning half-century as Windies B-dealt title holders Windward Islands Volcanoes their 4th defeat of the regional Super 50 Monday night to virtually put them out of contention for the Final Four. Sent in at the Brian Lara Stadium, Volcanoes slumped to 40-for-5 in the 12th over as a clever combination of a spin and pace ruthlessly blew away the top order. Tevin Imlach anchored the Windies B team's run chase with an unbeaten half-century, but right-hander Kavim Hodge came to his side's rescue, bolstering the innings in 2 successive half-century stands, first with wicket-keeper Emmanuel Stewart, who got 56, and then Ryan John 44. All told, Hodge faced 126 balls and counted 4 fours and a 6 before he was 7th out in the 48th over. Fast bowler Alzari Joseph pulled from the West Indies one-day side to tour India because of fitness concerns, grabbed 3 for 54 from a full 10-over spell, while the pacey Shamar Holder claimed 2 for 37. Chasing 228, Windies B were in deep trouble with 2 wickets down, with no runs on the board, but Smith smashed a breathtaking 34-ball 64, while Kevin Imlach stroked an unbeaten 57 and Jivor Royale 44 not out to power Windies B to an unlikely victory, their 2nd of the tournament. The defeat left Volcanoes on 7 points with just 1 win, 18 points adrift of leaders Jaguars, and 11 behind second-placed Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. Sent in, Volcanoes slumped to 40-for-5 in the 12th over as a clever combination of spin and pace ruthlessly blew away the top order. And that's sports. We'll be right back.
luggage is overweight. Your luggage is overweight. How much I must pay?
No, you can't do it like that. You'll have to take some of the things out of the suitcases and put in a box or something.
You know, you're a wicked woman. A wicked fat woman.
Do you want a boxer?
Box me now? You think so you're helping me strike me? Try a box.
Barbados, it's time to laugh again. Get yourselves ready for the Caribbean's funniest men and women. Fast Promotions annual Caribbean Comedy Explosion. Saturday, October 27th, Sir Garfield Sobers Gymnasium, 8 p.m. Get your early bird tickets now and pay $60 before all are sold out at ticketlinks.com. All Ticket Links outlets nationwide. Jeans Inc. Sheraton, CS Pharmacy, Rubis Waldy, and Eddie Supermarket, Spicetown.
I come in here as a loner. I know you spot me from far.
Or something.
You know, you're a wicked woman. A wicked fat woman.
Do you want a boxer?
Box me now? You think so you're helping me strike me? Try a box.
Barbados, it's time to laugh again. Get yourselves ready for the Caribbean's funniest men and women. Fast Promotions annual Caribbean Comedy Explosion. Saturday, October 27th, Sir Garfield Sobers Gymnasium, 8 p.m. Get your early bird tickets now and pay $60 before all are sold out at ticketlinks.com. All Ticket Links outlets nationwide. Jeans Inc. Sheraton, CS Pharmacy, Rubis Waldy, and Eddie Supermarket, Spicetown.
I come in here as a loner. I know you spot me from far.
Again, the major developments of this day: a senior economic advisor to the Barbados government confirms there will be more job cuts next year, no more than 1,000 on top of up to 1,500 that will occur over coming weeks. And in sport, West Indies head coach Stuart Law slapped with a 2-match suspension after being found guilty of making inappropriate comments to umpires on the 3rd day of the final test against India. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, log on to CanadaNews.com. For more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and subscribe to CaribVision's YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and good night.